organize any military coup, you look at any of our neighboring nations. You look at Pakistan, you look at China, you look at Sri Lanka, you look at Afghanistan. All these nations have experienced military coup at least once from their foundation. India has never ever experienced any coup. So I think we all can agree on this that our nation is a beautiful piece that God has created on this planet. So now, what is the thing that's stopping our nation to grow or to become the best in the world? Like, why aren't we called the technological capital of the world? Why is USA bearing that title? Why aren't we Indians bearing that title? So the first thing, we lack centralization. That's the first hurdle, in my opinion. We lack centralization. We don't have one nation, one language. We don't have that. We are disputed over the differences of languages. I'm not saying that we should have one enforced language. I'm not saying that. You have your culture because language is a part of our culture. Yeah, Bengalis adore their Bengali language. Same way, people living in southern parts of India, they adore their language because they see it as a part of their culture. And that's a beautiful thing, I agree to that. But there should be one language which should be understood and spoken by every single individual of this nation. And all the fundamental education should be based on that language. May it be Hindi, may it be English, I'm not arguing which language should that be. But superficially, it seems to be that English has to be that language. Because English is the most prominent language on the face of this nation. It's not Hindi, it's English. And that's not my opinion, by the way, that's stats. You can search on the Google, you can opt for Google if you don't trust me. So we are disputed over languages. Then we have dispute over the fundamental, constitution of India. Like many people say that the constitution we have is a Congress-led constitution. All the people that framed this constitution were from Congress. So they have this Congress mentality. I wanted to speak more on this topic, but because my time is over, so I rest my words here. Thank you for being a disciplined lodge.
Okay, as per you, what are the two challenges? What do you oversee?
The first is, as I said, we lack centralization, and the second, we. Sorry, it crossed my mind. I just missed it. The first is that we lack centralization. Okay, when it comes to my mind, I'll tell you.
Okay, do you think language is such a problem which we should think about?
Yes, I do. That's my personal opinion. You guys may disagree. And why do I say that? Is because when we have the education system which is divided. If we had one education system, we would not have, you guys, why are you here in this institution? Because you have this language barrier. You wanted to learn English because you believe English is something that can give you an advantage over those who don't know English. Right? That's why you are here. So you saw it as a challenge, you saw it as a problem. Imagine you guys would not have required to come here and you guys invested this time doing something productive for yourself or for this nation. How good would that be? So that's why I believe language is.
How we can convince other people? Means English should be one language that all should speak.
Well, we can convince by the official stats because we can show them, show all the people of India by governmental institutions that English is the most prominent language on this planet, and we should accept English, if not as the first, then at least as the second language. Because you talk about convincing people. It's all about convincing. People should understand the importance. So we should tell the people what good can this language bring in your lives.
No, actually the vendor who are selling vegetable, fish or like that. Do you think English is required for them?
Well, I don't think English as that is required for them.
But don't you think education is required for them?
I do. Think.
So how to cope up with this?
Well, firstly, my notion of education is very different from many people that I have met. I believe the present Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, is one of the most educated people in India. You all may disagree. You all may say that he was just a chai wala, he is not educated. But I believe he is a highly educated person. Education is not the amount of knowledge that's in your mind. It's experience, it's exposure. That also counts in education. So yes, even if you are a sabzi wala, you are selling vegetables, you still need education. You need to be aware of your surroundings. And that basic education should be with everyone.
So, do you only think practical education is required, not theoretical? Should India move to the Vedic era when only practical knowledge was given, no theoretical knowledge?
Well, I believe both are important, theory as well as practical. But it depends on what field you are in. For instance, if I'm an engineer, I need to have practical knowledge as well as the theoretical knowledge. But for a person who is, let's say, a chai wala, he does not require that much of theoretical in depth. Even if he just knows how to make tea good, how to make it taste good, it's fine, it's sufficient.
In future, how you will contribute in the
How would you conclude, you can say, hurdles in the path of India's development?
How do I conclude?
contribute?
How would you contribute
I'm not
in the hurdles of India's development? How would you contribute to removing hurdles?
I got it. Well, I am a student. Just now I have completed engineering. So what I can do is I can be honest to myself. I can wherever job I get to whatever company, I should be loyal to that company, and that way indirectly or directly I am going to serve my nation. So that's what I can do. That is something that I can do. Second thing, I can vote for people who for the politicians who are actually interested in a far those that have a far long-term vision for a better India. So I can use my right to vote in the right direction. These are the two things that I can do.
But the most